Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I have Burger King. So I don't eat meat, so I got their fish sandwich and then they also have a veggie burger. And then I got their Twix pie, Oreo cheesecake, flamin' hot mac and cheese things, and then onion rings. And honestly, I was talking to my sister about it, and I don't know if I've ever even had Burger King like in my life, just because like usually if I was gonna get fast food, I would just go to like McDonald's or Wendy's or something like that. So this, I think, is the first impressions of Burger King. I don't know. I don't remember ever going to them, so yeah. Anyways, I'm really hungry, so I'm going to start eating. But I also have a story time today. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to ask for sauce, so I just made my own. I just mixed mayo and ketchup together. That's like my favorite sauce. I don't know. Does anyone else do that? Those are pretty good. Wow. They're definitely kind of hot, but like not in a bad way. And then I also have a story time for today. So usually my story times are from things that have happened like months ago, but this one literally just happened yesterday. So I'm so excited to tell it. It involves my neighbors at my parents' house, so I guess I'll just get started. So basically, the reason why I was even at my parents' house yesterday is because we celebrated Easter early. So today's Easter, but we celebrated it yesterday, and we had a brunch with my grandparents. And then when brunch was over, me and my sister just went back to my parents' house just to like hang out. So basically, I'm going to give you some background information on my neighbors. So my parents have known them for a long time because my parents have lived at the house they live at now for like 20 years. And my neighbors are the ones who built my parents' house and then sold it to them. So like they've known each other ever since my parents moved in. So my parents have never really, I guess, been like super close with my neighbors, just because when my parents first moved in, first of all, there was like a lot of neighbors who like went out of their way to tell my parents to like watch out for, okay, so I'm gonna call my neighbors the Johnsons just because that's like a basic name. But a lot of other neighbors in my parents' like neighborhood, I guess, went out of their way to warn my parents about the Johnsons' sons. So the Johnsons, the people I'm talking about, are about 80 years old, I want to say, and then their sons would be like my parents' age, so like 50, 60. And basically, a couple people went out of their way to tell my parents that the sons had been spotted stealing in the neighborhood, like breaking into houses and stealing out of people's homes, and basically to just watch out for them. And so that was like the first thing that kind of tipped my parents off. They were like, you know, we're just gonna kind of keep our distance, like still be neighborly, still be friendly, but like that's all it's gonna be. And so then another thing that happened is a couple months after my parents moved in, well, I guess there's two things. So first, one of the sons came down to my dad and like asked for a tool out of my dad's garage, and my dad gave it to him or whatever. And at the time, my dad had a really nice mountain bike, and so that's what the inside of the fish sandwich looks like. So my dad had a really nice mountain bike, and one of the sons came down and borrowed a tool. My dad kept his mountain bike in the garage, right, where the son was to borrow the tool. And then the next morning, my dad realizes that his mountain bike is gone. And it could have hypothetically been anyone. Like, there's no proof that the son stole it, but our driveway is really long. Like, I want to say it's like 100 yards maybe, and you can't see it from the street. So there's no way that someone would have been, like, just meandering down our driveway and, like, happened upon our garage and, like, stole a mountain bike. Like, it would just make sense that, especially since the son was there earlier that day to get a tool, that it would have been him that stole it. So basically, that was another thing, I guess, that, like, made my parents not want to, like, associate with these people even more. And then, like, the last thing, I guess, that happened that, like, solidified that these neighbors were, like, people my parents didn't want to be friends with, was that when my dad was, like, because they had just moved in, so my dad was doing yard work. And when he was doing yard work, he was digging for some reason. And he found a totaled car, like, buried in our yard. And so he asked the neighbors, the Johnsons, who had sold him the house, if they knew anything about it, because it's weird that, like, a car would just be buried in our lawn, right? And they claimed to not know anything about it. And so my dad thought maybe, like, something had happened before they had the property, or, like, he didn't know. So he just, like, was like, whatever. But he still had to pay to get the car out of the ground and to get it towed. And so then a few weeks later, my parents were visiting with some friends who also knew the Johnsons, and they were just asking my parents, like, you know, how's moving and going? Like, how are you liking the place? And my dad was like, yeah, we're really liking it, but it's kind of weird. I found a total car in our backyard. And the husband of the couple that my parents were friends with was like, what kind of car was it? Just asking. And my dad told him, and he was like, I sold that car to Mr. Johnson like a year ago, and he reported it as stolen. So basically, what happened was Mr. Johnson probably crashed the car, didn't want to like have his insurance go up, so instead he just claimed that it had been stolen so he could get money for it from insurance. Like, that's the most logical explanation, because otherwise why would you report a car as stolen and then bury it, you know? And so my dad still ignored it because he didn't, like, want confrontation or anything like that. This Twix pie is bomb. That's what it looks like. It's like so soft. So basically, like, after that, my parents just stayed away from them. And then, like, the Mrs. Johnson's just kind of like a kook, I guess. Like, she just kind of turned into, like, a bitter old lady, and, like, always has, like, an agenda against someone in the neighborhood. Like, she just lost a lawsuit because she sued these developers that they were on her property, even though she was only claiming it was like an inch, but she still sued them. She lost. There was, like, this one guy in our neighborhood who was kind of, like, just, like, kind of a sketchy person, and so she was always, like, calling the police on him, and just, like, constantly has, like, an issue in the neighborhood, I guess. And so her new agenda is that my parents get too many deliveries and are like messing up the driveway with all the deliveries they get. And so, because my mom will buy stuff online, like she'll get stuff from Amazon, and so we share a driveway, like us and the Johnsons, like their house is at the top of the driveway, ours is at the very back. And so Mrs. Johnson's like claiming that the delivery trucks are like ruining the driveway, and so she will literally, like, if she's outside gardening when the delivery trucks are coming down, she will not let them pass. Like, she will stop them and tell them they have to walk their package down our long ass driveway to our house. So that's all just background information on this family. Now I'm gonna get to the real part of the story. What happened yesterday. So basically, when we first got home after brunch, so my parents have chickens. I don't know if I've ever said that in a video before, but they have chickens. And like there's like a whole bunch of different animals that will like try messing with them. Like we have coyotes, raccoons, and then there's also crows. So the crows will try to get into the chicken coop. I think to get the food. I don't know. But my parents have had chickens for like as long as I can remember, and my dad has always used buckshot to, if you don't know what buckshot is, it's basically like a bullet that has little beads in it. So when you shoot it, like it kind of explodes and like the little beads go everywhere. So it can never kill anything. The whole point, if you hit something with it, is just to cause it to sting. So my parents have always had issues with crows in the neighborhood, so my dad has always used buckshot. He doesn't shoot it at the crows. Like, he was in the army or the military, and he has like good aim, and he would never like actually hit the crows, but he'll shoot it like in their direction to get them to go away from the chicken coop. So that happened on yesterday. So when we got home, there was crows hanging out, and so my dad used buckshot to shoot at them, and he's been doing that for years. Like, that's always been the way he gets rid of like animals around the chickens. And so like nothing else happens after that. He just like the crows go away, like it's fine. And then after he shoots like at the crows, he goes, because my sister needs a new board for under her bed, like another board, because I don't know how to explain it, but basically one of them broke, and so her bed like sagged, so he was gonna cut one for her. And so he was in the garage doing that, and then he was doing laundry, because our laundry is also in the garage. And when he does chores like that, he'll listen to podcasts on his headphones. And so he was listening to his headphones, and first of all, he's deaf in the first place. So, like, he can hardly hear anything anyways. And the headphones definitely don't help. And so me and my mom and my sister aren't outside doing chores with him. We're in the kitchen. My mom's cleaning this window that she has where her pots are. She used to be a florist, so she always has like a whole bunch of flowers and stuff. And so she was cleaning the window where she puts them so they can get sunlight. Cheesecake is literally one of my favorite foods, so that's bomb. Actually, the Oreo cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory is my favorite cheesecake of all time because I love Oreos and cheesecake, so this is really hitting the spot right now. But anyways, I'm actually going to go get some more ketchup real fast because I'm almost out. Okay, so she was cleaning the window, and all of a sudden, me and my sister are just sitting there like chilling, and all of a sudden she's like, oh my god, and we're like, what? And she's like, look outside. And so we look outside, and literally not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 police officers are coming down through the, like, my parents, I'm going to insert a picture because I specifically took a photo so I could show you guys, like, how creepy it looked. 5 police officers are coming down through this laurel bush that separates my neighbor's house, the Johnsons, from my parents' house. So they're coming down, trying to be, like, all incognito, coming through the bushes. And they don't have regular guns. They have literal assault weapons freaking on, like, strapped to them. Like, it's not just, like, a normal gun. It's, like, they were very serious about it. Like, they obviously were nervous about something. And so we rush outside, like, me, my mom, and my sister. And there's one lady officer, and she comes up to us, and she's like, is there anyone else in the house? Like, do you guys feel safe? Are you guys okay? And we're like, yeah, like, we're totally fine. So this is their veggie burger, and it's really not bad. I added American cheese to it. It doesn't come with cheese, but it's actually really good. So she rushes over to us, asks us if we're okay, and we're like, yeah, we're fine, like, what's going on? And she was like, someone said there were shots fired at this residence. So literally, the shots fired was my dad shooting the buckshot at the crows. And so my dad is still doing laundry. So the laundry, the way it's faced is like, if you come down the driveway, our garage is like right here, right? And then the laundry would be like right here. So you're facing away from the driveway when you're doing laundry. And his headphones are in too, so he can't hear anything. So he can't hear anything. And the other officers have their attention focused on my dad. Like, the lady officer's talking to me, my sister, and my mom. But the other officers are like trying to get my dad's attention, I guess. And so one of them is like inching closer to my dad, and he's like, sir, put your hands where I can see them. Sir, put your hands where I can see them. And my dad cannot hear anything, and he can't see anything because he's not facing the driveway. And the officer pulls his gun on my dad, literally, like, pulls his gun out, and was like, he, like, starts getting more aggressive. He's like, sir, I need you to put your hands where I can see them. And my mom, like, yells at the officer and was like, he can't hear you. He has his headset in. Like, she's obviously panicked. It was honestly a very scary situation. I'm like still traumatized. Like seeing someone pull a gun on my dad. Scary. So she was like, he can't hear you. He has his headset in. So the officer gets in eyesight of my dad so my dad can see him. Like he inches closer to his peripheral. And my dad sees him and is like, obviously shocked. He's like, whoa, like, like what's going on? And my dad is usually like a really calm person in the sense that he's never like shocked, or like when something big happens, he's always the one that like isn't shocked by it. Like he'll just kind of keep his head straight and like know what to do. But he was obviously like very shook by the fact that there was a gun in his face. Like I've never seen my dad react like that, which is also kind of scary because usually he's like so like calm and collected. He's like, whoa, like what's going on? And the officer explains like that he heard shots were fired because the Johnsons called the cops on my dad for shooting buckshot, even though my dad has been doing that for like 20 years, literally. And the Johnsons have like known that he's been doing that. And they, like, if you hear what buckshot sounds like, you like know that it doesn't sound like a normal gun. Like it doesn't sound like a pop. It sounds more like, it's like hard to explain, but it doesn't sound like a normal gun. Like, I don't know. You can just tell the difference like when you hear it. And the fact that my dad has also been doing this for years and never had a problem. But so the officers explained that the Johnsons called the police on him for shooting, and like they said that they heard shots like inside of the house. Like it wasn't like, if you know where our chicken coop is, it's like up like across the way from the Johnsons. It's like up further on the driveway. So the fact that they would have said that they heard shots fired in the house, like he was up near the chicken coop, like by your property. Like if anything, you would know that it wasn't in our house. So they were just like meddling pretty much. And my dad was like, to the officer, he was like, I was using buckshot. Like I can go show you what I'm using. Like I will show you the bullets. And so my dad makes a move to go into the front door, and the officer pulls his gun on my dad again and is like, sir, don't step inside the house. Like what? My dad is just trying to freaking show that he's not first of all, shooting anyone or shooting anything with a normal bullet. And so once my dad explains everything, like the officers are like, okay, you're fine, like you didn't do anything wrong. And once they leave, my dad like wants to go, because my dad's like really upset at the fact that they called the cops on him. Like it really bothered him. He wanted to go talk to them because he was just confused why they would call the police when he's been shooting like at the crows for years and like it's never been a problem. And so when my dad like goes to walk up to their driveway to go like try talking to them and like seeing like what's going on, the son, one of the Johnson's son, the one who's like around my dad's age and most likely stole the mountain bike, is on their porch probably because they knew that the police were there and they were like curious. And my dad like steps onto their lawn. Like he hasn't even said anything to them like at all. He just like walking to go talk to them. And my dad would never talk to people and be aggressive. Like that's just not his nature. He's more of like even when he's mad, he just gets more quiet kind of. Like I don't know. He would never like scream at a neighbor though. And so he just walking up to them to go like talk to them, and the son screams at the mom and it's like, Mom, call the cops. He's threatening me. Like, and my dad was like, I haven't even said anything. Like what? And so the cops get called again because these neighbors are freaking insane. And the second time the cops come, they're like, you know what, you just have to ignore them because we've had issues with this woman, Mrs. Johnson, like calling the cops on a lot of people in the neighborhood. And like it just seems like that's what she does. So just try to ignore them. So basically the cop pretty much said that the Mrs. Johnson called them for no reason. So yeah, they just left and that was that, but it was scary to see a freaking gun being pointed at my dad. I'm not sure, like, if her new agenda, like, you know, I said she has, like, agendas in the neighborhood. I'm not sure if my parents are, like, her new agenda and, like, what's gonna happen with that. But if she does anything else, I will definitely do a Crazy Neighbor series where I just tell all the stuff she does because she's one crazy woman. So yeah, that is the end of this story time. It might have been all over the place because I'm like still like freaked out by it, but I just want to tell you guys because when it happened I was like, this is probably one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me and I need to share it with the people who subscribe to me on YouTube. So yeah, anyways, I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the food, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye.